Good morning and welcome back to another episode of Books, Bytes, and Buzz, where we serve up the sharpest insights, best literary reads, and the biggest ideas buzzing in our community. I'm your host, Deputy Director Sherri Stanley. Today we're shifting our focus to a topic that affects every single one of us, even if we don't realize it until crisis strikes. Preparedness, community strength, and survival. And we have the perfect guest to break it all down for us. Joining us today is Director Vazquez, the head of the Office of Resilience and Sustainability. And for those who may not know, this is a vital part of the Emergency Management Agency office that's dedicated to keeping our community safe, prepared, and ready to bounce back from any disaster. So good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing well, and we're so happy to have you on today's episode.
It's an honor to be here.
So to begin, can you share a little bit about your background and what led you to hold this current position?
Sure. Well, I started with the county 25 years ago.
Wow.
Started at age 19 as a firefighter.
Wow.
And I came in and served in a firefighter role, a sergeant's role, lieutenant, all the way through operations, the fire marshal's office. I was a fire marshal at one point for the county. Served all the way up to a deputy chief role, where I was fully involved in all aspects of the fire department, to executive leadership, to budget, to operations, and everything in between. And then at a point in my career, the COO's office called me and asked me to take this position as the Director of Emergency Management and the Chief Resilience Officer for the county, and that's where I've been the last 3 years.
Wow, excellent. And so can you start by telling us a little bit about the emergency management's mission?
Sure. The emergency management mission is to prepare, respond, and mitigate several emergencies in the county, everything ranging from natural disasters to man-made disasters to terroristic threats, and everything in between, cybersecurity attacks that we would work with our IT office. So anything that would come against the county to lessen the resilience or that would bring some kind of emergency this way, not necessarily with fire and PD, we deal with it on a bigger scope.
And I think that makes our audience feel comfortable. It makes me feel comfortable because a lot of times you never know who's working behind the scenes to keep you safe.
Right. Yeah, we are definitely a behind the scenes type agency. So a lot of our core mission is to assist and enhance the services of fire, police, sheriff, public health, and communications when it comes to a disaster that's going to affect the county overall.
Okay. And for those who are listening, can you describe the type of emergencies that your office would respond to?
Sure. So first is natural disasters.
Okay.
So those are your hurricanes, your tornadoes, ice events, snow events in the county. Okay. We open up the Emergency Operations Center, and we help strategize and ensure that those responders have the resources that they need to mitigate the emergency and make sure that our citizens are safe overall. We have man-made disasters, so that could be anything from an active shooter. It could be anything from a bomb threat in a school or a church or anywhere in the community. So we ensure that we're speaking with our state agencies and our federal agencies to help mitigate that emergency. We also deal with cybersecurity attacks. So with our IT department, if they know of a known threat or a hacker that has taken over some part of the county, or if it causes anything with our critical infrastructure, our water, our power, then we work with those agencies to help mitigate that emergency.
Okay, so I'm hearing that you seem to be connected to a lot of agencies, and so when things happen, you're even working with our churches, our local community,
yes,
nonprofit groups to help. Do you guide their direction as to how they should respond?
Yeah, so we deal with a lot of community partners.
Okay.
It's very vital that we deal with the community because when disaster strikes, it's really a community issue,
True,
not just a government issue. So we really need the community to step up, and we deal with our nonprofit agencies. So when we do have freezing temperatures or any kind of inclement weather, we rely on those nonprofit agencies to get our unhoused out of that inclement weather. We deal with our churches and get the clergy and the pastoral staff to help pull people in for centers and shelters as well.
And I heard you say schools as well.
Oh yes, we do. We partner with our school system for those much needed buildings that are needed in the event of an emergency, and with the American Red Cross as well.
And so when emergency happens, because I like to stay informed myself, but we love to inform the community, how would they know if something is happening? Is there some type of tool that they can utilize to know how to respond, or when there is an emergency actively happening, or even one that someone sees coming?
Sure. So we have in the county, in Clayton County, we have a variety of mass communication pieces of software that we utilize. But in our agency, we have Code Red, which is an app that will send out emergency alerts to your phone through the app. It will call you, it will email you, it will text you. So you can sign up for Code Red to our mass notification, and we only send those out when there is a real emergency happening. So we're not going to send something out saying, hey, there's a fun event this weekend, or we have something going on. It is specifically for mass notification of emergency. So if you see, hey, inclement weather is on the way, there's a tornado on the ground, stay off of this road because it's icy, or that's the kind of communication that we'll send out. But it allows us to geographically isolate Clayton County, so we can go to different parts of the county, whatever district it's in, or it can be mass communication for the entire county to make sure that they know that something's going on.
And how far in advance, if a storm is coming, let's say for example, how far in advance would the Code Red send out a notification to citizens and residents?
Well, we specifically are the ones that send out the notification.
Okay.
So my communications officer, she'll send out these messages as we get the information from the National Weather Service, or whether it's another agency.
Wonderful.
We will turn around and send that out. So it is as we get the information is when we send out that information. So like with a hurricane, we know days in advance it's coming. With a tornado, unfortunately, we know severe weather is coming. We don't know if there's going to be a tornado hitting the ground until it actually happens.
Okay.
Now we do, if we know like a tornado is on the way, we will tell people ahead of time with more than enough notification to clear the area or shelter in place.
Oh, very nice, very nice. What is an emergency operations center, and what is the purpose of this center?
So the Emergency Operations Center is basically the brains of the operation.
Okay.
So if we have, say, inclement weather like freezing temperatures or ice on the ground, what we'll do is we'll get a representative representatives from my office, representatives from each agency in the county, to come into the Emergency Operations Center, where we coordinate and we collaborate all the communication that goes out and how we distribute all the resources. So in an Emergency Operations Center, I will act as the director, and then I will work with fire, PD, sheriff, our transportation and development, our communications team, to make sure that they have the resources they need, and all the information that comes in is how we basically distribute those resources.
And you know, it's interesting because I got a chance to experience that earlier this year when we had some weather coming, some inclement weather. My director for the library system was on that call, and so I was on that call seeing how everything was coordinated. And I really do give you kudos, because it was a lot of people on the call, but it was such a collaborative effort. Everyone wanted to make sure that they were hearing you and that they understood what to do.
Yes.
And so I think that worked out, and it really turned out very well. We were prepared, as well as informing all of our patrons here.
And that's the biggest thing with emergency management, is making sure everybody's prepared and ready, and is ready to act in the event something happens.
So as we approach severe weather, hurricane season, what are some of the important steps that residents should take to remain safe?
Have a plan. Is the biggest thing, and you can always reach out to our office and we can help you out with that. But since inclement weather is coming in, the biggest thing that gets knocked out first is power. And without power, you can't charge your phones.
Right.
You can't cool your food or heat up your food.
Right.
So have backup generators in place. Have a plan. Have days of rations. Know where the flashlights are in the house. Know where the fire extinguishers are. Where backup batteries are, and where a safe location in your house is. So identify a central location in your house. Say if there's a tornado, identify a central location and lowest to the floor. So if you have multi-stories, get as low as possible, and know that if it were to happen, who to call, and where a recovery site would be for you, and where your family and friends know where you're at.
So can you tell me some of the most common mistakes that people make?
They don't plan ahead.
Okay.
And they don't really listen to the messages that are being put out.
Okay.
Whether it's through the news channels or whether it's through our Code Red app, a lot of people see those notifications and say, I don't really see anything really happening around me. And then they become reactionary instead of proactive. This happened in 2014 when we had all the ice that hit the city of Atlanta.
Absolutely.
A lot of the employers let their employees off a little too late, and then we had people stranded on the roads. And this happened also, not this past year, but the year before. The weather came so fast, and we advised, let's clear the roads. Some people just usually think that they can still drive on the roads that are icy, and then they end up getting stuck. So listen to the messages that come out and have that plan. Have a bag in your car if you do get stuck on the side of the road, with flashlights and a way to get in contact with the emergency responders.
You know, this is very funny because I hear a lot of times, I have friends that are from up north, and they say, well, I can drive on the icy road. But the one thing I try to remind them is that we don't necessarily salt the roads, not all of them.
Right.
And so there again, it can be dangerous because different preparation in different cities are happening.
Right. Now, the North as opposed to the South,
Yes.
they're usually prepared for all this and have all the equipment in place because they see it all the time. Now, in the South, we don't see it all the time, but we're seeing it more and more.
Yeah.
So you'll see agencies, City of Atlanta, the Metro, and other places around Georgia that are starting to really see that we need to stock up, even though it's a once in a, maybe one time a year or something, but that one time a year can cause that emergency that, and we try to ensure that those lives are not lost, and try to make sure we're ready to go.
And summertime, with summertime around the corner, public gatherings, children out of school, extreme heat conditions, what are some ways that residents can prepare to be safe when outside? So
the first thing I would tell them is to hydrate.
Okay.
All right. Get as much water in you as possible, and have some water. Have some electrolytes, and sunscreen is always a big thing. In the South, even with the cloud cover, there's still UV that comes through. So I would say have sunscreen, have your hydration, have a way to get cooled off. If you're having fun outside, and you start feeling those symptoms, you start getting a little lightheaded, get indoors, get in that air conditioning. And again, listen to the advisories that are coming out. If there's a heat advisory, if the heat index is going to be over 90 degrees and it's getting to those hundreds where the real feel is over 100, try to stay indoors. Let's be smart about what we're doing. Listen to the professionals that are warning you, and then ensure hydrate and have sufficient ways to cool off.
Absolutely. You know, and we're taking tips because we tend to plan programs in advance, and so sometimes you may not know what the weather conditions are at the time, but we try to make sure that we have tents out and different precautionary measures so that we won't overheat.
Yeah, so that's also one of the things that we can do in emergency management as well. If there is a department that's having an event outside, and they request resources from us, there's ways that we can get misting fans and coolers and things outside. And you can talk to the Clayton County Water Authority and they'll provide water.
Yes.
So we have things in place to assist the public as much as possible.
Well, that's excellent. Excellent. And so are there any training programs, workshops, or preparedness initiatives available to the public? Because all of this information that you are providing is something that we want to put out to everyone. We want everyone to know how to be safe, but also to prepare, because we see that that's one of the biggest components. Prepare first.
Right. So that preparedness comes with a lot of awareness.
Yeah.
So we do host active shooter classes. We host stop the bleed classes. So in the active shooter classes, it's what to do if a threat does come in, and how to basically be aware, know where your exits are at, know where to hide, and where to run to if needed. So we teach people, and it's open to the employees of Clayton County. It's open to the general public. So we do have those awareness classes. We have Stop the Bleed. So in the event that there is, say, God forbid, a gunshot wound, how to apply a tourniquet, how to stop bleeding and then you call 911 and those emergency responders come. We also have our CERT class, which is our Community Emergency Response Team class. We deal with the youth commissioners. Where they have the juniors and the seniors, where they come in and they take several classes with county officials and county departments, and we train them as well as that resilience and being able to recognize those dangers around, and that's a life lesson, not just for them as students, but they can take that with them anywhere they go. And so, yeah, we have a lot of those. We have GMA classes that we hold that are a lot of community-based things as well. We also have Praise and Preparedness, which is we bring the pastors and the clergy in and talk to them about disasters and how they can be leaders in the community and help as well. Because, as you know, government can only go so far, and we can only provide so many resources. So when an emergency happens, and we're limited on resources at times, but then it takes a whole community to really recover from a disaster, and that's where we bring in a lot of our community partners to help.
And and with the library system, we've had those trainings. We've had the active shooter, Stop the Bleed, and other trainings, because we want to make sure that our staff, that we're prepared, because the community sees us as a hub, and so if something is happening, we are connecting you to the resources as well.
Yes.
So we want to make sure with that. But how can the library help with the emergency management office?
Sure. So one of the things is taking that communication a step further. You have citizens that come in all the time. So we do have like flyers with QR codes that have the Code Red app.
Okay.
So if you pass those out at every single one of your events, or anybody who walks through the door, repetition is key a little bit when it comes to communication. And also, too, I know that you guys are assisting us with our future initiative of Ready Kids.
Yes.
So the Ready Kids initiative is great because it teaches the little ones more about that preparedness. It goes a little further than your stop, drop, and roll that the fire department would do, and we partner with them all the time, and they're fantastic. But we provide a little bit more of those resources and awareness to the little ones.
Excellent, excellent. So finally, what is an important message that you would like to convey to citizens? If nothing else, what do they need to do?
Have a plan, and listen to your community leaders. We don't want to be overwhelming, but in the event of inclement weather or a disaster that we know is coming, or in the event of an emergency, just listen to the direction of your community leaders and have a plan for yourself. Be prepared, because preparedness really starts at home. And it's really a mindset thing. So you and your house, make sure that your house and your family are taken care of. We're going to be on the way, but you can really help us out by having that plan in place and getting yourself to a safe area in the event of a disaster.
And it's funny because as I was preparing for this interview, I looked in my house and I found that I was not prepared. that there are a lot of gaps that I need to kind of look at. Because if something were to happen, it's kind of, you think, oh, I'll be okay, it's okay. But when disaster strikes, you don't have time.
Right.
And so now I've started applying that and really looking at my house to come up with some type of plan.
Right. The preparedness is like insurance,
I know.
right?
Yeah,
You don't really want to use it, but you're happy it's there when you need to.
exactly.
So
I love that.
That's kind of the way we work as well. We're behind the scenes, and we don't want to have to jump into action
Right.
because that means something has happened,
Right,
and we don't
exactly.
want emergencies to happen. But when it does, just know your Office of Resilience and Emergency Management is going to be ready to act.
Well, thank you. And that makes me feel so safe. And that makes, I know the citizens feel safe because we know that we have a whole team working for us. Sometimes you never know who's working behind the scenes to make things happen.
Right.
But we appreciate you because a lot of times we don't get a chance to say thank you. We're just kind of in motion. But thank you for all that you do because it really is appreciated.
Well, it's our pleasure. We're ready to act and ready to answer questions and be here when somebody needs us.
And so I think this has been a wonderful, wonderful time to talk about preparedness because as we enter into different times, summer, we never know what we can face and what we come up against. So these put things in perspective for us. So thank you, Director Vazquez, for being a part of Books, Bytes, and Buzz. And we will see you all on the next episode.